Welcome back to Ben's Book Club. Today we are diving into the book Lead the Field. Originally recorded in the 1960s by Earl Nightingale, this audio series literally laid the groundwork for the entire modern personal development industry. The premise? It's fascinating. Success isn't just some random byproduct of luck, fate, or raw talent. Instead, it's a completely predictable result of applying a handful of very specific, everyday habits. We're going to break down exactly how this works in this explainer.
We're starting with a concept Nightingale pulled from Russell Conwell's famous 1890 speech. It's the acres of diamonds parable. Think of a farmer who sells his land to travel the globe searching for diamonds. He spends his entire life looking, never finds them, and dies broke. Meanwhile, the guy who bought his farm notices a shiny rock and a stream right on the property. Turns out that farm was sitting on one of the largest diamond mines in the world. The lesson here is massive. We constantly chase opportunity elsewhere, assuming the grass is greener in a new job, a new city, or a totally new industry, while completely ignoring the unrealized potential sitting literally right under our own feet. So it really begs the question, are you currently standing in your own diamond mine without even realizing it?
Before you go making a massive pivot in your career, Nightingale argues we need what he calls intelligent objectivity. Basically, you need to take a step back and deeply audit your current assets. Look closely at your existing skills, your network, and those recurring problems that you understand better than anyone else. Finding hidden value usually doesn't mean moving across the world. It's about developing the vision to see the opportunity right in your current environment.
Okay, let's dive into this, because knowing the diamonds are there is a totally different ballgame from actually knowing how to mine them. Nightingale proposes a core mechanism for unlocking this latent potential. And surprisingly, it starts entirely from within.
1. The magic word, attitude, as the driver of reality. Nightingale's take on attitude isn't just about forcing a smile or toxic positivity. He sees it as the decisive operating system for absolutely everything you do. The core idea is that the world mirrors what you put out there. A negative expectation, it literally repels results. If you expect a meeting to tank, your body language and tone create a self-fulfilling failure loop before you even shake hands. But on the flip side, an expectant attitude actively attracts results. When you expect a useful outcome, you're naturally conditioning your brain to spot options. You strike up conversations you'd normally skip, and you push through setbacks. You treat people like they matter, and the world reflects that value right back to you.
But if attitude shapes our reality, how do we actually direct that energy? An expectant attitude is incredibly powerful, for sure, but on its own, it's just undirected energy. Without a specific target, you can have the best attitude in the world and still end up running in circles.
2. A worthy destination, turning drifting into directed progress.
Nightingale makes this bold, fascinating claim. People with a single, clearly defined goal consistently outperform those without one, pretty much regardless of raw talent. Direction is what harnesses that good attitude. And that brings us to his highly specific, enduring definition of success. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. Notice the exact phrasing there. Success isn't a finish line. It's not some arbitrary income level or a fancy job title. It's a direction. It's an ongoing process of movement. By this definition, a person actively working toward a meaningful outcome is already successful.
To really lock this in, he provides 3 super practical anchors. Step 1, write down your chief aim. Step 2, carry it with you physically. And Step 3, review it daily. The point here isn't just mindless repetition. It's to make absolutely sure your mundane, everyday work is always tethered to a larger purpose. It acts like a filter for your decisions and keeps you anchored. 3. The miracle of your mind. Daily compounding habits over dramatic effort.
Relying on sudden bursts of motivation rarely works in the long run, right? Real progress comes from daily discipline. This is his famous 5 ideas method, which is designed to force creative problem solving. Here's how it works. Every single day, you dedicate one focused hour. You write your main goal at the top of a page, and you force yourself to generate 15 to 20 ideas to improve what you do. Now, most of these ideas, they'll be completely unworkable. But you select the best 5 and you execute them relentlessly. Try this tomorrow morning. It's a compounding routine that practically guarantees constant growth.
So, if we're constantly generating ideas and working, how do we measure the actual value of our efforts? It's so easy to feel like we're putting in massive amounts of work, especially when brainstorming daily. But internal effort doesn't automatically translate to external rewards. We need a way to objectively measure our value in the real world.
4. Destiny in the balance. Service determines your rewards.
And this brilliantly illustrates his unyielding economic theory. Your external rewards will always strictly match the quality and quantity of the service you render. If you want greater rewards, you can't just demand them. You have to figure out how to increase your service. To apply this, Nightingale suggests treating yourself as a personal corporation. You're a business featuring 4 distinct functions: finance, production, sales, and research and development. Think about it. If you aren't actively investing in your own R&D by learning new skills and increasing your capacity, you are depreciating. The goal should be to grow your intrinsic value by at least 10% every single year.
Financial independence naturally follows competence. Money is simply the harvest of the value you've produced. It shouldn't actually be the core goal itself. Your earning power grows when your contribution becomes distinctive. A specialist who serves at a highly skilled level is vastly harder to replace than a generalist, and the pay is always going to reflect that scarcity.
Now, this framework is incredibly compelling, but we do have to evaluate it critically. The world has changed quite a bit since these audio recordings first dropped. Does this 1960s philosophy still hold up as universal law in our modern, highly complex digital economy?
5. Timeless truths versus outdated worldviews. A modern reality check.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing the enduring brilliance of this work contrasted against its mid-century blind spots. Impartially analyzing historical source material means we really have to recognize both. On one hand, the timeless principles, specialization, clear goal setting, daily compounding habits, these are the absolute bedrock of modern productivity. But the text does contain some outdated worldviews. For instance, it leans on the completely debunked myth that humans only use 10% of their brains. Modern neuroscience shows we use virtually all of it. It also features arguments about vocabulary that definitely read as classist today. Plus, the assumption that a good attitude entirely erases structural barriers is flawed. It just doesn't account for complex, systemic economic conditions.
So, applying this today means we have to dodge some modern burnout traps. Relentless hustle and always going the extra mile require strict boundaries. Without them, it just becomes an excuse for organizations to under-reward their staff for unpaid labor. Also, believing that income differences are purely based on value creation overlooks modern realities like algorithms, inherited privilege, and winner-take-all markets.
But even with those important modern caveats, the book delivers a profoundly empowering truth. Excellence is actually the easier long-term path. Settling for average might feel safer in the moment, but it forces you to compete with the vast majority of the crowd. The top of any field is surprisingly less crowded. By raising your standards, the competition paradoxically becomes much easier the higher you climb.
The ultimate challenge this material leaves us with is a massive shift in perspective. Instead of asking why success hasn't arrived, what opportunity might you be failing to see right under your feet? Don't look outward for someone to hand you an opportunity. Look closely at your current environment, your unique skills, and the problems surrounding you. Find your own acres of diamonds, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.